In the early 19th century, conflict was occurring with many different countries, and the tension progressed over time. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand ignited the spark that began the First World War. The Zimmermann telegram was perhaps the most significant telegram ever sent. Drafted in 1917, the telegram drastically turned the tide of World War I and changed the course of history. The Zimmermann telegram immediately impacted society due to the fact that it was one of the main reasons that the United States entered into World War I. In modern day, our communication systems are often taken for granted. Information can travel across the world in a matter of seconds. It makes simple tasks like talking to your friend across the country seem effortless. But this wasn't always the case. Back in the 1900s, before the advances in technology, the communication was anything but instant, often taking multiple days or even weeks to travel long distances. As a result of communication, over the years, humanity has been able to become more connected and unified through the advances in communication. A telegraph was a form of communication that was used in the 18th and 19th century that was a written message sent by a telegraph. On January 16, 1917, Arthur Zimmermann, a German foreign secretary, sent a telegraph that would forever change the course of history. Through this message, Germany proposed a secret military alliance with Mexico to join forces in the war, and as a result, Mexico was promised territory. Mexico would gain back New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas, land that was once their own. This message would come to be known as the Zimmermann telegram. Germany communicated on public telegraphs due to the fact that in 1914, many of the German wireless radio lines were cut. As a result of being on a public cable, Germany made codes so that their information would remain secret. The British intelligence tapped the line of the German cable communication, and from listening to the conversations, the British had already begun understanding the codes that were being used. Soon, the Zimmermann telegraph was tracked by the British code-breaking unit, otherwise known as Room 40. Although they didn't understand the complex German code, they knew it was of great significance. After several weeks of dedication, the British decoded enough of the telegram to realize that it was associated with the United States and immediately handed it over to President Woodrow Wilson on February 26, 1917. The British had communicated with the United States by letting the country know that Germany was plotting an alliance with Mexico to secretly attack America in the war. Immediately after the president was informed about the message of the Zimmermann telegram, he communicated to the Congress about the situation. Then, on March 1st, President Woodrow Wilson communicated across the country and came forward to the American people about the news of the Zimmermann telegram. What Germany thought would be a secret two-way communication with Mexico was actually a global form of communication. The fact of the matter was that Mexico, the British, the United States, and American citizens were all involved in the Zimmermann telegram. And this telegraph was one of the most significant forms of communication during this time.
Before the First World War began, the United States was very independent, and some would even consider it an isolated country that was separated from the rest of the world. Then, on July 28, 1914, Germany initially went to war with France and Russia and later fought against Romania, Italy, Great Britain, Japan, and the United States. However, while the countries raged and fought, America remained neutral for over 2 years. They had no reason to enter the war, nothing to benefit them from joining, so America maintained neutrality. Then, Germany had sent the Zimmermann telegram out to Mexico, proposing an alliance against the United States. When the British intercepted this telegram, British intelligence cracked the complex code and then turned it over to the United States. Americans were furious to hear that Germany and Mexico were planning on attacking them for their land. Men all across the country were fired up and ready to fight for their homeland. In result, on April 6, 1917, President Woodrow Wilson declared war against Germany and joined the First World War.
Why did Germany want to go to war with the United States?
Although the United States remained neutral for the majority of World War I, the reality of it is that Germany was power-hungry and took advantage of America's neutrality. Since Germany was in an alliance with Austria, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, this was the perfect opportunity for Germany to take Mexico and become even more dominant central power. Germany took this opportunity to catch the United States off guard. Since the United States stayed out of the war and did not cause problems, they would have no enemies within the war and ultimately not expect any attacks from other countries. The Zimmerman telegram was so significant because it led to America's involvement in the war due to the fact that Germany and Mexico were planning a secret attack. Through the communication between the British and the United States, the British intelligence brought the Zimmerman telegram to President Wilson's attention. Almost immediately after the news was shared with American citizens, the United States prepared to enter into the First World War. The Zimmerman telegram could be considered the most significant telegram in the course of U.S. history, because without knowing this information, our country would have been secretly attacked by Germany and Mexico. America could have suffered a great loss of the war. Hypothetically, thousands of people would have been killed from this unexpected attack. The fate of the United States would lie in the hands of Germany. However, luckily, this was not the case. Instead, the United States bombarded their way into the war, and American soldiers showcased their loyalty and pride for their country. If America never joined the war and did not align themselves with the Allied powers, research shows that they would have lost the war to Germany. If the United States did not receive the message from the Zimmerman telegram, America very well would have never joined the war and ultimately could have been attacked by both Mexico and German forces, and the world would have been taken a turn for the worst. Many historians have come to believe that the Zimmerman telegram led the United States into entering the First World War. Evan Andrews from History.com says, most historians believe that the American involvement in World War I was no doubt accelerated by a notorious letter penned by German Foreign Secretary Arthur Zimmerman. It could be argued that the Zimmerman telegram was the most significant telegram ever sent because the threat from Germany and Mexico immediately catapulted the United States into war. Ultimately, America joining the war completely changed the outcome of World War I. Furthermore, the Zimmerman telegram impacted society on a global scale due to the fact that America helped Allied powers defeat Germany. Overall, this important telegram that was originally sent to Mexico would forever change the course of history when the British intercepted the code.
On March 1st, 1917, the textual content of the Zimmerman telegraph, a message from German Overseas Secretary Arthur Zimmerman, was sent to Mexico, offering a German-Mexican alliance. Drafted in the early 20th century, the Zimmerman telegraph was perhaps the most significant telegraph ever sent, since it was able to prevent attack from Germany and Mexico on American soil. The telegraph drastically turned the tide of World War I and changed the course of history. In addition, it ended Americans' neutrality and ultimately led the country into joining the First World War. The Zimmerman telegraph immediately impacted society due to the fact that it was one of the main reasons that the United States entered into World War I.